Missed each other. Yeah.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks for coming, everyone. Welcome to Cooking with Carolina. Today we have chorizo, and I would like to thank the Library Friends of Oak Bluffs for providing the funding for this and all our library programs. And one thing here, I realize I have them. Scissors. So, has everybody had chorizo before? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. So a lot of people have maybe the Portuguese chorizo here, which comes more in like a sausage form. I'm not a fan of that personally. I'm very, very excited to find chorizo in this form at Stop and Shop. There's your secret. I know they have it at the Stop and Shop in Vineyard Haven. I think they have it in Edgartown.
I think I've seen it there.
But they don't always have it. It was gone for about a year.
Where was it? Where did you find it?
In Stop and Shop,
No,
in
but which-
the Vineyard Haven.
But in the, like, the
So it's
cold
right-
cuts
When you first
area
come in?
or
No, it's with like the sausage
When
and
you
the
first
meat.
come
Yeah,
with meats?
yeah, the hamburger
It was
like
in
that.
Edgartown last week.
It was in Edgartown last week. So this one, a little background. I used to live in California, and there I worked in a taqueria. Actually, wait a second. I did not work in the taqueria in California. I worked in the taqueria in North Carolina, but it was owned by people from California that had moved to North Carolina from California, and they started a taqueria in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And they had chorizo, and that was the first time I had ever had it. And it was in this form, and it was handmade, and it was so good. So good.
Is it spicy?
Not
Mildly?
super spicy. Just, it was spiced, but not spicy. So this is the only kind I've ever found in New England that sort of matches that deliciousness. So first we will go ahead and get this cooking. So we're gonna make two things today. We'll make burritos, and then we'll also make nachos, because we have plenty of chorizo to do both. You can see I have a few different ingredients up here. I have cheese, which we'll use on both the burritos and the nachos. We have our flour burrito shells. You can pick whichever style you like best. There are a lot of options now when it comes to burrito shells. There's spinach, there's sun-dried tomato. Spinach would be really good, but they did not have spinach yet. These are from Reliable. No spinach shells at Reliable. And so these are fine, but make sure you get the ones that are large enough to actually make a burrito. Not the soft taco size, or you'll be having difficulties with that. I have just some lettuce, green leaf, pick your favorite. If you like lettuce, some people don't like lettuce in the burritos. Tomato. I brought two different kinds of beans. We have black beans, which I think are very good with chorizo. And then I also have some vegetarian refried beans, which I prefer in the burrito. Actually, they're both good. They're both good. I like them both. Jalapenos, which I find are necessary on nachos, especially when they're crunchy and delicious. They add just the right amount of heat. Some salsa. I just got mild, so it's versatile. Then I brought from home some potatoes, mashed potatoes, that I had made before and just had leftover. Burritos are a great way to use leftovers. And chorizo is especially good with mashed potatoes. And then I also have some chips for the nachos. Let's see. It's getting hot.
So you're gonna be looking for that, right?
For what?
For the chorizo, it's a job.
No, we use my tree.
The ones that get shipped to you from California, well, when you're done with that.
You have chorizo shipped to you from California?
My son sends me,
How does he send it? In dry ice?
no, just overnight.
Oh, really? It's frozen? And then it
No, it's
like,
not frozen, actually.
really? How is that possible?
So this is the brand.
Oh, interesting. Hmm.
I'm not
So
sharing
you're
all
quite-
my secrets.
Quite the connoisseur,
See,
the chorizo connoisseur here.
I buy the pork stuff and I put it through the grinder. It's nice and good.
Well, you can find,
So if anybody
Oh, yeah.
wants to smell
There's a lot
Does
of,
this
Oh, I could smell it
smell
as soon as.
similar?
It smells when you
it
open
does.
it.
More, yeah.
It's the spices, the, yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
So this is a more
As soon as you opened
Mexican,
it.
Mexican
Oh, yeah.
style, not Portuguese. Smell it? Yes. You can make, of course, chorizo from scratch, which maybe you thought we were going to do today. No. I do not have a meat grinder and all the things to go along with that. So if anybody wants this, this is Hatfield brown sausage chorizo.
Hatfield is a brand name.
Yes.
Don't read it. I want to read the ingredients.
Okay.
I won't read them out loud in case somebody.
You can read them out loud.
Smell it
if you
from
want.
over
It's
here.
not bad at all. It's salt, seasoning, liquid salt, garlic powder,
And it really
chili
does.
pepper, cilantro.
No, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's very.
So it's pretty.
Yes, exactly. Which I like. I appreciate that.
Are you being recorded?
Yes. This is the live cooking show. I've been doing this with all of them.
Now, you've used that brand before?
This is the brand that Stop and Shop had last year, and I discovered and was super excited, but then it disappeared.
Is it very fatty?
I don't think so, no. Yeah, not overly so. I do still drain it, but
Yes.
and it smells so good. There's just something about chorizo that. And it's fairly versatile too. It's great for breakfast, chorizo and egg. Making breakfast burritos with it. Chorizo and egg burritos are really delicious.
If you don't eat meat, you don't get it.
There probably is a soy meat though, which might be good. It is a lot on the spices though.
No.
Yes, exactly. So for the burritos, we will use a little lettuce. But of course, you don't use much burritos. And when you're making burritos, you might as well make 3 or 4 at once, because you can freeze them, and then they do defrost and cook up quite well. What's that?
I like burritos cold.
Cold? Really? I don't usually eat them cold. Because I like them when they're melty and cheesy. That's in a towel. So this is cooking sort of a medium high. And it doesn't take much tending to. I kind of chop it up while it's cooking. Kind of like when you're making tacos with some ground beef or turkey. And fancy knife. Samurais here.
Fancy box, it's way different.
Exactly. And so for your lettuce, it's good to do sort of a very thin ribbon chop. But it doesn't have to be perfect. And it's really more your personal preference as to how you like lettuce in a burrito. That will definitely be more than enough. We have our tomato. Are you making mischief?
No,
Are you distracting the class?
you won't get.
Hey!
He said
I
he's
hope we don't get
distracted.
smoke.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
said, don't worry, we don't have to keep any time. Sorry.
Oh, lordy.
It is nice when it comes clear at the front page. Every time, right, so there's really a new person.
Yeah, we're just glad that you made it one.
Give it time.
He was distracted completely, and he missed it.
That's really cool, so that's $15 for the
Cookbook class is awesome.
That was a great picture.
We had a good turnout, yeah. It was a very good turnout, and everything that we made was really quite good and interesting, and things that we would not maybe normally make. So that was nice. We have next month available. Should you like to join us?
That's like fun.
It is fun. And plus you get to eat at what everybody else makes, and it's like, it's nice to try
Do
everything.
you choose the recipes and then ask for volunteers, or?
No. So you choose your recipe and mark it in the book. So you choose your own recipe. The cookbook is at the circulation desk.
Are you trying to end up with like a complete meal or not?
It depends. Like last time it worked out fairly well, where it was kind of a complete meal. I try to pick cookbooks that have like appetizers, main dishes, dessert, and just hope that people will pick different things. There you go. You can complain to the man.
Yes, you can, it needs two bowls. The ballot? Then just take the bulb out and hold that in that.
Have your picture on the front door with a line.
Well, I designed her a whole area.
No longer allowed in the
I
library.
designed her a whole area with a mirror that comes down so you can see with a special light.
And what happened?
Okay, so we're looking pretty good here. It's also, if you like, it is nice to get a little browning on the chorizo, just to get a little crisp going. There's really no fat. Yeah, you can see there's really no fat. Somehow, I mean, it's like less fat than hamburger. So we'll turn that off. What's that?
He said if there's no fat, there's nothing to salt.
Nothing.
Toast the salt, you know, when you
That's
put the-
true.
whatever.
Not with this.
We all
But you don't want it to be greasy in your burrito.
No.
So one thing we are lacking in here, which I use at home, is the microwave. So I do typically use the microwave quite a bit when making burritos, actually. I will heat up the tortilla in the microwave just a little bit, maybe 10, 20 seconds total. I'm actually gonna run and heat up the potatoes. Or maybe Maya. Raymond.
Usually when I make not exact recipes, but usually when I heat up the tortillas, I put them on like a pan and they just like
You can do that too. You definitely can do it that way, but I do use the microwave.
I have a tortilla warmer.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you just slide the tortillas in, corn or flour, and then you put it in the microwave, it's like a pillow, and you slide them in the middle, and it keeps them moist.
That would be nice. need one of
I
those.
smell everything.
Do you want to put these in the microwave for me?
Sure.
My assistant.
Should have Kenny do it.
Next one. I have more. So let's see. I think I'll make the burritos. We'll make one that is black beans and one that's the refried beans. Just for taste test comparison. How are they?
Made black bean quesadillas,
Delicious.
2 of them with little sauce.
Ooh, that sounds good. Do you deliver?
Last week.
No.
No.
3 times I went last week. The museum cafe.
Yes,
Oh, see, ours went.
I could.
Blueberry stone.
Yeah.
Big. For $2.
You went for lunch 3 times?
Yeah. I love it. Because if you have a membership, you get 10% off too. I was all by myself, working all over the room.
You should go there.
Yeah, I forgot. You don't like
Stuff to do.
So I do drain the black beans. I do not rinse them. They have a lot of liquid in them. You definitely want everything you put in your burrito to be drained and not have a lot of moisture or liquid. So your burrito isn't super messy and sopping all over the place and getting wet and falling apart.
You don't want that.
No. Okay, so we'll wait for our mashed potatoes, but in the meantime, heating your tortilla up also makes it a little more pliable and easy to work with, and makes it sort of set better once you do your tortilla wrap. You do just want a thin layer of your beans. Sometimes I will also heat up the beans in the microwave prior to putting them in the burrito. Or after you're done, you can actually just zap the burrito itself for a minute, and it kind of makes it all gel together. And of course, this is your personal preference. If you like a lot of beans, put more beans. If you don't like beans, don't use beans. So don't use them.
But you felt like I lost.
Thank you very much. Perfect.
Ooh, they're warm now.
Thank you, assistant. Don't go far.
He's leaving.
Gonna go home now and rest.
Carolina, what
That's his
else
work
is
for the
in
day.
those mashed potatoes? The skins?
I did leave the skins on these particular ones.
Yeah.
I was just being kind of lazy, honestly, but I like the skins sometimes in them. Yeah. And it does add a little more nutrition and fiber if you leave your skins on. So now I put the little bit of potato on there. We'll open our cheese. No, I don't have guacamole.
But you don't want it at your house.
Sure. If you can afford to buy avocados on this island and make guacamole. That would have blown my budget here. Considering avocados are like 1 for $2.
You have to buy that holy guacamole.
I almost did that, but I didn't want to.
I've never tried a prepared one that I thought was any good.
Yeah, exactly. Me neither.
But in a pinch.
Thank you. And now, so with the chorizo, just put on, if you like, just a little little bit, put on a little bit. If you like a lot, put on a lot. Kind of go down the road. And when you're making a burrito, you kind of want to spread out. It's almost like when we did the sushi. You want to spread out your ingredients. Kind of, you can see, in the middle here, but also going across so they're even. So think about when you take a bite of the burrito, you want everything to be in every bite. So you want those ingredients to be distributed quite evenly. So now I will put on the cheese. And this is just some Mexican cheese, which is just a 4 cheese blend. And then if you like lettuce on your burritos, you can put a little lettuce. The one thing about putting lettuce on is it doesn't reheat that well if you're freezing your burritos to reheat them later. But I really don't mind it reheated, honestly. And the same with the tomatoes. They can get a little too juicy.
Looks like a tostada.
It does. It totally does. You could make a tostada with this too. And now from here, if you like sour cream, you can put sour cream on. If you like jalapenos, put jalapenos in there. If you like salsa, put salsa in there. Salsa I also will leave out if I'm freezing them, just because
Do they freeze well?
Yeah, definitely. But if I were to freeze them, I just do the basic
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wouldn't.
with no vegetables.
Yeah, okay.
And no salsa.
Yeah.
But since we are not freezing these, we'll do one maybe with the with salsa and one without.
Are you gonna add the jalapenos onto the burrito?
Not on the burrito. I actually have those more for the nachos that we're gonna make.
Need a spoon?
I'll just use this one.
You got that in another spoon.
There is only one spoon like this, actually. One library spoon for all of us to use. We have to pass it around. Nobody can eat lunch at the same time.
Somebody needs to go to the thrift shop.
No, we have more. Okay, so then, to roll your burrito,
Yeah.
this is the key part,
These Japanese things.
like origami. So, first, you put in your tuck in your sides to cover up the sides and a little bit of the top there. Put your fingers underneath here to support the bottom. Roll it
Oh boy.
over
you
the
did
top
it.
here, and then kind of take it and use that to tuck everything in, tuck in your sides. Also, if you don't heat up the tortilla, it can be it can break a lot easier.
Correct.
So heating it up makes it
I think she's done this before.
much easier. And so if you don't do it, like you can see here, when it's heated up, it won't crack like that. So there's one. Well, I did used to work at the taqueria. I've rolled many a burrito.
That one looks easier.
These particular shells are a little small for like really making a burrito. I mean, they work, but I would prefer a bigger size. Maybe these are like 8-inch, and I would prefer a 10 to 12. But you can rip it if you are too aggressive with it. But
Are you squeezing a little bit?
I do squeeze a little bit, and like if you were here for the sushi, it's a little like the sushi where you're like tucking it under and making sure it's all staying in and keeping your sides in also. So there we go. We have our burritos. Let's see. Assistant,
What do you need?
will you go and put these in the microwave for like 30 seconds or a minute?
I'm gonna eat them.
I'll make you a separate one for it.
He's gone.
So much for those. Okay, so So those are burritos. Very easy. Doesn't use much lettuce. Have a salad. Or you can make a tostada or something that has more vegetables in it.
Does,
If you want to get a little healthier.
this is all serious, does the word burrito mean?
Burrito?
Does it have a meaning like roll? I don't know.
I don't know. Anybody?
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 Burrito? It means little. Actually, it would mean little donkey.
Little white.
Actually, it means little donkey because burro is donkey.
I like knowing where words come from.
Well, no, I mean, burro is donkey and burrito means little donkey.
Oh, there we go.
So, exactly.
I don't know. Maybe like there's some ancient food that was like a burrito that they gave to donkeys or something.
Or maybe because burritos are so portable that you could eat it while you're riding your
On your
donkey.
There you go.
Okay, so for nachos here, get your favorite chip brand. I don't really have a favorite, but these will do.
I like popcorn chips actually.
I don't know if I would like those for nachos.
And
And then you want to,
These are ones from Mexico, created by unknown.
oh, are you looking up the etymology of that?
Yeah, 1895,
1895,
Spain.
Spain.
Does mean little burro, of course. Yeah.
Uh-huh. But why?
Well, this one says it originated in Mexico.
No, this one says Spain.
See?
Uh-oh.
Must be in there.
This is true. Oh,
Wikipedia.
our fantastic assistant has returned.
Wikipedia.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, this one says
Thank
it
you for that.
originated in Chile.
How long did you put them in for?
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Uh-oh.
So I'd probably do a minute.
Warm it up.
It'll be fine.
you haven't done that.
So with this, you want to spread out your chips in a even layer. Try to not have any of the tin foil. Use tin foil for one because it makes your cleanup much easier. And spread out your chips nice and evenly in one layer. You don't want to just pour a bunch on there and then throw the stuff on. I mean, it'll work, but it won't be as good. Because you want to have even distribution of your ingredients. So let's see, we'll
Do we get to
preheat
eat
our
the
oven
burritos?
here. Pardon?
Do we get to eat the burritos?
We're gonna use it to try some, yes. So I'm gonna preheat our oven here for 350. There we go. And let's finish these first. So nachos, very much like burritos. Put whatever you want on them. They're great to put leftovers on. Put whatever kind of beans you like. Some people like black beans, some people like refried, some like pinto. Use all three. Whatever is your preference. Sometimes I like refried just because it tends to catch the other ingredients and hold them on there. But we'll do a combination as we can. And you do kind of want to just evenly, you don't want big clumps of anything. Try to think of each individual nacho as having everything on it as much as possible. Without getting too crazy about it, of course. Unless you're OCD and have to make each one perfect and the same.
That would be me.
That would be tough.
Only 3 beans for chip.
Exactly. You can, if you have leftover potatoes, it's a great way to use some leftover mashed potatoes on there. Let's see.
I'm so glad to see you don't have cheese whiz.
What cheese whiz?
Oh,
You
you know
use
that
cheese whiz on nachos?
Oh, yeah, I've seen.
Oh, like
Oh,
that's you make that with Velveeta,
Yeah,
actually.
instant heart attack.
Velveeta. So then you also want to,
Put a little sea salt on
no sea salt. It doesn't need salt.
it. I'm just kidding.
The chips are salty enough.
Mac and cheese that we had Thursday night was delicious. But you wouldn't tell me how
Mmm.
secret.
Mmm. He probably bought it
Joe?
from Stouffer's.
This is seen Joe. He's Tommy's friend.
So you want to distribute your meat evenly, just like you distribute everything else evenly. I tend to load up nachos pretty heavily with stuff. I like less stuff on them.
I'm gonna go for that chorizo.
Might as well just use it all up. So this was a pound of chorizo. And basically we made 2 burritos and a plate full of nachos using a pound.
Yeah, but something back.
So now we want
Sprinkled cheese.
sprinkled cheese.
3 teaspoons or
Again, you can do whatever your preference is here. If you like heavy cheese, you can load it up. I think I tend to go medium. Medium.
How are you gonna get all that into a pan?
It's already on a pan.
Ah,
Yes. So
I didn't see that.
there you go. You can see I have a pan, which I specially selected this particular pan because pans that are bigger do not fit in here. I have made that mistake before.
Wet roast.
Yes.
Half cooked.
Almost fits. Not quite.
Just stick it in the microwave and turn it on. Pretend it fits.
Everybody knows that trick, right?
If Jillian was here, she would be laughing at that.
They don't, they're just,
Not for you.
well, I like them when they go in, it's just they haven't
Oh,
affected them
this
later
is
that
true.
I don't like.
Those pickles,
Enough said,
Carolina,
Yeah, hot.
These are pickled.
they are?
They are, yes.
Bagels.
And different brands can have definitely a different level of spiciness. As usual, on Martha's Vineyard, there are not a lot of choices when it comes to pickled jalapenos. These would not be my choice, but that's what we have.
It's great.
I prefer the ones in the can.
Oh, yeah.
I like getting like a small, squat
Yeah,
can.
yeah. They're chopped up a little bit more too, so you
Or
can sprinkle a little better.
I don't want them chopped up. I like the
You can get 'em-
slices.
You can get them like that in a can too.
Yeah.
And you can get the one they're talking about.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
you can get both. So this is all I would put on before they go in. So now we'll stick it in.
Yeah.
Nachos don't take long to bake.
Are you baking or broiling?
I'm baking. Baking. Maybe if the, I don't like to broil actually because I don't like my cheese getting that crusty. I prefer it to be more stringy. So let's see, let's cut up some burritos here and we can do our taste tests of those.
Look at that, isn't it?
Oh.
That's great.
See how
I'll take 2 to go.
everything is in the one bite. You can see tomato, you can see lettuce, chorizo, the beans, the mashed potatoes. Yeah.
I wanna eat it.
That's what you want. So now, for taste testing, we're making them more into like a little high roller here.
I like that.
Yeah, why not?
Whoopsie.
You take those 2 first.
I'm sure.
They'll come.
Yeah.
Really sharp knife.
Luckily, these are somewhat cohesive and keeping together.
You want me to pass them out?
Sure, why not? Let me see. Let me get a fork. Or you can see who wants pinto, or the refried beans, and who wants black beans.
It's not the back. $5. Cheap crowd.
There we go.
Hey,
You might
need a
want-
fork. You guys want forks? No,
You don't really.
Too nice.
Depends on how proper.
Yeah, that's right. In this crowd, there's nobody proper.
You're not gonna get out
I don't know about that.
I
I do tend to eat burritos with my hands. I guess some people could use a knife and fork and be very neat about it, but not me.
Have you ever seen anyone eat pizza before?
I have. I have eaten pizza with a fork. I can see the appeal sometimes to eating pizza with a fork.
Interesting. See, that's really
This one is gonna need a fork.
So we're getting nice and melty there. Looking pretty good. It won't need much longer, certainly. So with the black bean, it will be a little crumblier. More difficult to cut and get keep it all together.
You don't have to worry, I washed my hands last week.
Here to beat.
They might want forks with this one.
You guys gonna eat it? Okay. Nothing but empty plates.
Oh, see, I smell them now. Yeah, when your nachos are cooking, don't walk away. Don't get distracted and start doing something else. They don't take that long to cook.
I don't need
I
don't need
you're,
I'm fine.
you're out of luck. But there are
Sure?
nachos. There are
Would you
nachos.
like one? There's one left, just for you.
But did you get one?
I don't need one.
There are nachos.
I'm fine. I had a big breakfast. If you like yours.
Okay, so our nachos look about perfect. There's just a little browning starting to happen with our cheese, which is what we want. Don't forget to turn your oven off after. So you can see just a little browning, which I think is tasty on the cheese, but not too much. You're not making your cheese completely brown and crusty. So now, for your nachos, you can kind of go however you like. Let's see. Plates. If you want to put salsa on them, put salsa on them. If you don't, just leave them like this. If you like sour cream or guacamole, put that on after you bake them, not before. You could put on more jalapenos if you want. But usually leave your cold ingredients, other than the jalapenos, till after. The jalapenos you could go either way. It doesn't harm them to be cooked.
We can use our plates.
You could use the same plates if you want to come up and help yourself actually. Then you could get the toppings also. They're only on half. I didn't put some.
I know.
You're afraid of just the juices? Okay, and there you have it. Those are chorizo burritos and chorizo nachos. Very easy, quick, a great dinner. You can even, if you are a little wild with your nachos, you could even put some lettuce and tomato on there and make a real salad meal out of it.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, no, what's kind of supposed to be? I'm gonna flex it together.
Sure.
I'm saving room for my birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So feel free to add some sour cream or salsa.
I'm gonna have pens on you, though, especially tonight.
What was he trying to do?
Really?